I have about 100 pounds to lose. And if you know me at all, you know this is not the first time that I'm attempting this. This time, however, feels a little different. Hi, welcome or welcome back. This is Glam Pam, and on this channel we discuss lifestyle, beauty, and aging gracefully and gratefully. So, last week I spoke about how my hysterectomy has changed my life, and this is a continuation of that story. I slowly gained weight over the years. I wasn't a big child or young adult. I was always slim, always tiny. But over the years, through different things that happened in my life and being busy with a full-time job, raising children, and just some personal struggles that I went through, I slowly packed on the pounds until eventually now I'm here. And I spoke last week about how I've been through so much pain for the past few years, and that has impacted my health. And in February I had a hysterectomy, and that I can honestly say has completely changed my outlook on life. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it below. But the upshot of it is that I'm finally ready to tackle my weight issues and do it once and for all. I've realized that I'm not going to wait anymore to start living my life. I know for the past few years I've always thought, when I lose weight I'll start a YouTube channel. When I lose weight I'll start dressing better. When I lose weight I'll wear high heels. All of that has stopped. All of that is out the window. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not waiting. I am diving right in. My life is now, it is happening. And part of that, part of living my life, is tackling my weight. So, I hope there will be some people that would like to join me or are already on their own weight loss journey. Please do comment below if you are one of those people. But I just thought I'd share with you today. Why am I putting it out there? Why am I putting such a personal story on the internet for the world to see? And part of that is gratitude. There are so many women that I've watched on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, who have taken control of their lives and have succeeded in losing the weight. And it doesn't matter how you've done it, whether it's through weight loss injections or weight loss surgery or the good old-fashioned way. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, but no judgment to anybody. It is unhealthy to be at this weight. I mean, I do suffer from high blood pressure and high cholesterol, and part of that is related to my weight. So the reason I'm sharing my journey is because I want to be held accountable. I want to be able to come back on here and share with you how I am doing week by week, how I'm progressing, but also hopefully in a few months' time to have a before and after story. But this time I decided I'm not going to wait until I get to the before and after picture. I'd rather take you through the journey with me. And today's video is just really talking about how I intend to get there this time. So for me, in the past, I've always had an all or nothing approach. I would work out really, really hard, doing things like Shalene Johnson or Billy Blanks or one of the P90 things. I'm talking about 10 years ago now. But I would really go hard with that. And I would do a juice fast or keto, and it was a complete all or nothing approach. And that, I've come to realize, that doesn't work for me. Doesn't work for me. So what I'm doing differently this time is I'm going to try and do it in a more sustainable, consistent manner. And that looks like walking every day, at least 10 minutes. And the reason I say at least 10 minutes, because I know it's not much, 10 minutes is not much, but I do work from the office sometimes twice a week. And on those days, I may not have a lot of time to walk, but if I can at least put in my 10 minutes on those days, I'm golden. On the other days, the rest of the week, I will walk at least 45 minutes. I will walk 45 minutes to start. But my goal is to walk every day at least 10 minutes. So that is point number one. Point number two is I'm not going for the all or nothing approach when it comes to my diet. I am at a point in my life now where I don't want to give up anything. I know there are things that have to change. I know there are things that need to improve. As in, I didn't get here by eating healthy food. I got here by snacking, by eating chocolate, by eating loads of bread and sugar and, all the processed things. So this time around, I'm not cutting anything out. I'm not saying I'm going zero carb or, a high protein, low carb lifestyle. No. I am concentrating more now on eating fresh, eating healthy, eating homemade food. I believe if I'm eating well, if I'm eating nutritious food, then there is no need to snack. My body will not be asking me for a bar of chocolate or a bag of crisps. That comes from hunger, nutritional hunger, not real hunger. I think it's caused by the fact that I've not eaten well. If I start my morning off with toast and jam, say, for instance, that is all carbs. There's no protein in there. So there's nothing to fill me up. And that's why come 11 o'clock, I'm looking at a bag of crisps or a piece of chocolate, a bar of chocolate, to get me through until lunchtime. Whereas I know, because I have done this, if I start my day off with eggs or a protein smoothie, I can easily go from 8 o'clock until lunchtime. I can do that without a problem. So this is my plan, is to incorporate more protein to allow me to go from meal to meal with less snacks. I may still need a snack, but what I will be doing now is snacking on something healthier. Fruit, nuts, seeds, yogurt, berries. There's so much that I can have to snack on that is not going to sabotage me. So that's my plan, is to get myself from meal to meal to meal without the need to reinforce that with junk food. So if I can have protein in the morning, protein at lunchtime, and protein at dinner time, I do believe I will be getting a lot more nutrition and a lot more satisfaction from the foods that I'm eating. The other thing that I will be doing is, and I've never done this before, I'm not one really for meal prep, but I think I can at least make sure I prep my ingredients so that they are ready to cook. I don't like to eat the same thing day to day to day to day. So I'm not the person that's going to have mincemeat and rice, or turkey and rice, and eat the same meal every day for 3 or 4 days in a row. I'm not that girl. But I am the girl that can slice the vegetables, make a mason jar salad, overnight oats. I can easily do that. And that will help me to get more healthy food in my day because it's ready to go. As I said, I work full time, so that's always been a hindrance to me, in that I do cook every day, but it takes a lot of time. So I do sometimes go for more convenient things. But if I do take the time out of a weekend to make sure all my vegetables are prepped, my salads, my greens are all washed, chopped, ready, put away in containers in the fridge, ready to go, that will save me loads of time, and that will make it much, much easier for me to eat healthy. That's another thing. The last final part of this, because I'm looking at this as a 3-pronged attack. We've spoken about movement, we've spoken about diet, and the final part of it for me is spiritual, taking care of my soul. And what that looks like is taking the time to actually slow down, appreciate the fact that I'm an empty nester. So what can I do with all this extra time that I've got in the evenings? I can use it the same way that I did with my children, but focus it on me. I can use that time to have a proper wind down system, which will allow me to sleep better, allow me to de-stress and lower my cortisol that way. So that, in practical terms, looks like having a proper wind down system, having a cup of tea, having a bubble bath, reading rather than scrolling in the evenings, so that I really bring my stress low and I try and sleep. My sleep is shot. It has been for the past few years. And it is partly because of the menopause, as I'm sure a lot of you know, but partly it's my own fault. It's things that I do, scrolling on the iPad for hours on end. That's not going to put me to sleep. So this last prong of the journey is that getting myself back to basics, the way it was back in the good old days as a Gen Xer, when there was no iPads, no internet. When it was time to go to bed, I would read myself to sleep. So I will be doing that, going back to that. Writing in my gratitude journal, getting more into journaling, taking time to reflect on my day, on my life, on my plans, reflect on that and plan more. So the final thing is, I truly hope you will join me on this journey. And if you are going to join, please do leave a comment. Just 2 words, I'm in, let me know. And we'll catch up again next week when I give you my first update as to how I've done for the week. Thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate you, and I hope you will join me again next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.